Hi, I'm Lilith. I never expected my mother-in-law Carol to become my worst nightmare, but that's exactly what happened. My twins, Emma and Ethan, were only 6 when everything changed. Mommy, can we visit Grandma Carol today? She promised to make cookies, Emma said, bouncing on her toes at breakfast. I smiled, pouring cereal into their bowls. Sure, sweetie. I packed your lunch already. Turkey sandwiches, apple slices, and those little yogurts you both like. With the strawberries on the bottom? Ethan asked, his eyes lighting up. Exactly those ones, I replied, ruffling his hair. I have that meeting with my boss today, so Grandma Carol said she'd watch you until dinner. My husband James walked in, adjusting his tie. Morning, everyone. Mom called. Said she's excited to have the kids over. She's been so helpful lately, I said, handing him coffee. Especially with these extra hours I'm putting in for the promotion. James kissed my cheek. That's Mom for you. Always willing to help family. Will you pick them up on your way home? I asked. Can't today. Got that client dinner, remember? But Mom said it's no problem keeping them through dinner. I frowned slightly. I packed their food, though. Mom loves feeding them. You know how she is about her cooking. Later that afternoon, my phone buzzed during my meeting. I excused myself when I saw it was Carol. Lilith, you need to come get your children, she said, her voice cold. What? Is everything okay? Are they hurt? They're fine, but they're impossible today. I've had enough. Carol, I'm in the middle of an important... Your children, your problem, I'm not a daycare. I arrived at Carol's 30 minutes later to find Emma and Ethan sitting silently on the porch steps. Kids! What are you doing outside? Where's Grandma Carol? Emma looked up, eyes red. She got mad, Mommy. Mad about what, sweetie? We asked for our lunch, Ethan said quietly. The ones you packed. She said we were being ungrateful, Emma continued. That her food was better than yours. I knocked on the door, and Carol opened it with a tight smile. Well, that was quick. What happened, Carol? Your children were rude, demanding the food you packed instead of the lunch I made them. They're allowed to have preferences, Carol. She scoffed. When they're at my house, they eat my food. I told them, your kids can eat at home, and threw those ridiculous packed lunches in the trash. They threw absolute tantrums after that. I felt my blood boil. You threw away their food and left them outside? They needed to cool off. Besides, I made perfectly good sandwiches they refused to touch. That's not the point. The point is you're raising entitled children who don't respect their grandmother. My phone rang. It was my boss. The meeting wasn't over. We'll discuss this later, I said, gathering the kids' backpacks. Don't bother bringing them back if they can't be grateful, Carol called after us. On the drive home, my friend Denise called. I put her on speaker. How'd the meeting go? Did Peterson approve your proposal? I had to leave early. Carol emergency. Again? What happened this time? She threw away the kids' lunches I packed and left them sitting outside when they got upset. Denise gasped. That's horrible. What did James say? Haven't told him yet. But this isn't the first time she's undermined me with the kids. Remember when she cut Emma's hair without asking? Or signed Ethan up for football when you'd already enrolled him in art class? Exactly. But this time she crossed a line. What are you going to do? I looked at my children's reflections in the rearview mirror. I don't know yet, but I'm done letting her walk all over me. The next morning, I called my sister Rebecca while the kids were getting ready for school. She seriously threw away their food? Rebecca asked, incredulous, and told them they could eat at home if they didn't want her food. They're 6, Becca. What did James say when you told him? I sighed, lowering my voice. He thinks I'm overreacting. Said his mom just has strong opinions about food, and I should be grateful for the free childcare. Free? It's costing you your sanity and teaching your kids their boundaries don't matter. Exactly what I said. But then he accused me of being dramatic. This isn't just about food, Lil. This is about respect. I know, and it's getting worse. Last month she told Emma that her drawing was messy and redid it for her. Ethan won't even show his grandmother his schoolwork anymore. Document everything, Rebecca advised. Start keeping records. That afternoon, I met with my neighbor Tara, a family counselor at the local coffee shop. Based on what you're describing, Tara said, stirring her latte, your mother-in-law is exhibiting classic controlling behaviors. James doesn't see it that way. People are often blind to their parents' faults. Have you considered family counseling? James would never agree to that. He thinks therapy is for people with real problems. This is a real problem, Lilith. Your children are learning that their feelings don't matter. My phone lit up with a text from Carol. James said you're upset about yesterday. I was only trying to teach them manners. Tara noticed my expression. What is it? Carol texting like nothing happened. I showed her the message. Classic manipulation. She's reframing her actions as beneficial. Later that evening, I spoke with Mike, James's brother, who stopped by to drop off a birthday gift for Ethan. Your mom threw their lunches in the trash? He asked, looking troubled. James thinks I'm making too big a deal of it. Mike shook his head. Mom's always been controlling, but this is different. You believe me? Remember when she accidentally donated all my comic books because they were cluttering my room? Or when she enrolled Jamie in private school without consulting Dad? Mom doesn't respect boundaries. What did your dad do about it? Nothing. That was their dynamic. Mom controlled everything. Dad went along. It's probably why they're divorced now. So what do I do? James won't stand up to her. Document everything. If she's crossing lines with the kids, you might need to set firm boundaries. I'll back you up. I nodded slowly. I'm meeting with the school counselor tomorrow. Carol's been showing up unannounced, trying to take the kids out early. Without telling you? Mike's eyes widened. The school called me last week when she tried to pick them up for a surprise trip to the zoo during math class. That's concerning. The more I think about it, the more I realize this food incident isn't isolated. It's part of a pattern. What are you thinking, Lil? I'm thinking it's time Carol learned she can't control my family anymore. 3 days later, I invited Carol for coffee at our house while the kids were at school. James had insisted we clear the air. I appreciate you coming over, Carol, I said, placing a mug in front of her. James said it was important to you, she replied, her smile not reaching her eyes. It is. We need to discuss what happened with the kids' lunches, and some other concerns I have. Carol waved her hand dismissively. I already explained that. They were being difficult. They weren't being difficult. They wanted the lunch their mother packed them, which you threw away. I made them perfectly good food they refused to eat. That's not the point. You disrespected their choices and my role as their mother. Carol's eyes narrowed. Excuse me? I've raised 3 children successfully. You're still learning. Learning or not, I'm their mother. When you undermine me, it confuses them. I'm not undermining anyone. I'm helping, which you should appreciate. I took a deep breath. Like when you cut Emma's hair without permission? Or when you try to remove them from school without telling me? Carol's face flushed. James gave permission for the haircut, and I'm their grandmother. I don't need permission to spend time with them. Actually, you do. The school has been documenting your unauthorized pickup attempts. Are you threatening me? I'm setting boundaries. From now on, you don't make decisions about my children without consulting me first. James would never allow this. You're turning my grandchildren against me. The front door opened, and James walked in with Mike. What's going on? James asked, looking between us. Carol stood up, tears welling. Your wife is accusing me of being a bad grandmother. That's not what I said. She's threatening to keep my grandchildren from me. James frowned at me. Lilith, we talked about overreacting. Mike stepped forward. Actually, bro, I heard everything. Lilith was calm and reasonable. Mom was the one who got defensive. You're taking her side? Carol gasped. I'm not taking sides. I'm stating facts, Mike replied. Mom, you've always struggled with boundaries. This is ridiculous. James, are you going to let them attack me like this? James looked uncomfortable. No one's attacking you, Mom. Tell that to your wife who's keeping detailed records of my offenses. I pulled out my phone. I have the email from the school about your unauthorized pickup attempts, and photos of Emma's hair before and after you cut 8 inches off without permission. You're monitoring me? Carol's voice rose. I'm protecting my children. From their own grandmother? James, say something. James looked at the evidence on my phone, then at his mother. Mom, did you really try to take the kids out of school without telling Lilith? I wanted to surprise them. There's nothing wrong with that. There is when you're listed as an emergency contact only, I said quietly. The school called me, concerned about potential custody issues. Custody? James looked alarmed. Mike nodded. Mom told them she had joint custody rights. Carol's face went pale. I never said that exactly. The school has it on record, I interrupted, along with you telling the teacher that my parenting decisions were optional since you're family. This is absurd. I'm leaving. Carol grabbed her purse. If you walk out that door, James said slowly, you're admitting everything Lilith's saying is true. Carol froze. You're choosing her over your own mother? I'm choosing the truth, Mom. And if what Lilith is saying is true, we have a serious problem. 2 weeks later, I sat in Principal Hernandez's office with James, Carol, and the school counselor, Miss Rivera. Mrs. Wilson, Principal Hernandez addressed Carol. We've documented several incidents where you've attempted to remove your grandchildren from school without proper authorization. They're my grandchildren, Carol insisted. I was just spending time with them. Miss Rivera opened a folder. According to our records, you told staff you had custodial rights equal to their parents. I never said that. We have statements from 3 different staff members who say otherwise, Miss Rivera continued. Additionally, you told Emma's teacher that her mother's instructions regarding her food allergies were exaggerated and could be ignored. James turned to his mother. Mom, is that true? Ethan's peanut allergy is severe. Carol huffed. He was fine when I gave him that cookie with just a little peanut butter. I gasped. You gave him peanut butter? When? Last month when I picked them up. He was fine, just a little rash. He has an EpiPen for a reason, I exclaimed. You could have killed him. Mrs. Wilson, Principal Hernandez said firmly, due to these safety concerns, we're implementing a restricted access protocol. You'll be removed from the approved pickup list and school security has been notified. This is outrageous. James, are you going to allow this? James looked devastated. Mom, you endangered my son's life and lied about it. I was trying to prove Lilith is overprotective. By risking anaphylactic shock? Miss Rivera asked incredulously. Outside the school, Carol grabbed my arm. This isn't over, Lilith. They're my grandchildren. Remove your hand, I said calmly. Everything that's happening is a consequence of your actions. James, tell her she's being ridiculous. James stepped between us. Mom, we've decided you need a timeout from seeing the kids. A timeout? I'm not a child. No, but you're acting like one, James replied. And until you can respect our parenting decisions and apologize to Lilith, that timeout stands. 3 months later, I met Carol at a restaurant with our family mediator, Dr. Thompson. I've completed the grandparent education program, Carol said stiffly. Can I see my grandchildren now? That depends, I replied. Have you accepted that James and I make the decisions for our children? Yes, she muttered. And that you need our permission before making any decisions about them? Yes. And most importantly, do you understand why what you did was harmful? Carol hesitated. I was just trying to help, Dr. Thompson interjected. Carol, we've discussed this. Helping without respect for parents' boundaries isn't actually helpful. Fine, I understand. We're willing to allow supervised visits, I said. 1 hour, once a week, with James or me present. Supervised? Like I'm some criminal? Like someone who has repeatedly violated our trust and endangered our children? This is your final decision? It is. And if I apologize? If I promise to do better? I shook my head. Words aren't enough anymore, Carol. Only consistent actions over time will rebuild trust. What if I never earn back unsupervised time with them? That's entirely up to you. A month into our new arrangement, I watched as Emma cautiously showed Carol her science project during a supervised visit at our home. I made this volcano all by myself, Emma explained, her voice quiet but proud. Carol looked at it carefully. It's creative. I noticed her restraining herself from criticizing or taking over. What do you think of the colors I chose? Emma asked. Carol glanced at me, then back at Emma. I think they're perfect because you chose them. Your creativity is what makes it special. Emma's face lit up. Really? You like it? I do, Carol said, surprising us both with her sincerity. Later, after Carol left, Ethan tugged on my sleeve. Mommy, is Grandma Carol still mad at us? No, sweetheart. She's learning that there are rules about how people should treat each other. Like how you don't throw away someone's lunch? Emma added. I nodded. Exactly. Everyone deserves respect, even kids. Even grandmas who make mistakes? Ethan asked. Yes, even them. But they still have to face consequences for their actions. Later that evening, Rebecca called to check in. How did it go with Carol? As expected. She wants forgiveness without accountability. And James is still on board with the boundaries? Completely. Seeing the documentation from the school and learning about the peanut butter incident was his turning point. So what happens now? We move forward. The kids are in therapy to process the boundary violations. James and I are in counseling to strengthen our united front. And Carol gets to experience the natural consequences of her actions. No chances of reconciliation? Not the kind she wants. She doesn't get to control my family ever again. How are you feeling about everything? I looked at the photos of Emma and Ethan on my desk, their smiles brighter than I'd seen in months. Empowered. I showed my kids that no one, not even family, has the right to disrespect their boundaries. What better lesson could I teach them? What would you do if someone repeatedly violated your boundaries with your children? Have you ever had to cut contact with a family member to protect your kids? Share your experience in the comments below.